Vampires. The word itself evokes a chilling blend of fear and fascination. For centuries, stories of these immortal beings have captivated and terrified us in equal measure. Our journey begins in the dim and distant past, tracing the origins of the vampire myth. From the shadowy corners of Eastern Europe to modern cities, the vampire myth has left its mark on cultures across the globe. Our journey into the heart of the vampire myth begins in Eastern Europe. It is here, amidst the shadows and whispers of the past, that the vampire myth first took root. No exploration of the vampire myth would be complete without mentioning Vlad III, more infamously known as Vlad the Impaler. Bram Stoker, the Irish author who penned the iconic novel Dracula, drew heavily on the tales of Vlad the Impaler when crafting his infamous vampire. Deeply rooted in folklore. The vampire has proven to be a remarkably adaptable creature of myth. Each society molded the vampire myth to fit its own unique worldview, adding new layers of lore and distinct characteristics. Explicable. The vampire continues to captivate our imaginations. Vampires embody our deepest fears while tapping into our primal desires for immortality, power, and forbidden knowledge. Vampires serve as powerful symbols, reflecting our own inner conflicts and preoccupations. They embody our fears of mortality and our fascination with the forbidden. The vampire myth has long been intertwined with themes of sexuality, desire, and transgression. The act of drinking blood carries strong sexual connotations, representing the seductive power of the forbidden. And the emergence of a framework for understanding the challenges of our times. For centuries, the vampire myth has thrived in the shadows, fueled by fear, superstition, and a lack of scientific understanding. However, as our knowledge of the natural world has expanded, the light of reason has been steadily chipping away at the darkness, offering rational explanations for phenomena once attributed to the supernatural. While the vampire may continue to captivate our imaginations, science reminds us that these creatures are products of myth, not reality. One of the key tenets of the vampire myth is the idea of immortality. Vampires are often depicted as ageless beings, immune to the ravages of time and disease. However, from a biological standpoint, immortality is simply not feasible. All living organisms, including humans, are subject to the laws of nature, which dictate a life cycle of growth, decay, and eventual death. Our bodies are complex systems that require a constant input of energy and nutrients to function. Over time, cells age and become damaged, leading to a decline in organ function and ultimately death. While medical advancements have made significant strides in extending human lifespan, the notion of achieving true immortality remains firmly in the realm of science fiction. Furthermore, many of the traditional characteristics attributed to vampires, such as the ability to transform into bats, superhuman strength and control over the elements, defy the laws of physics and biology. These abilities, while entertaining in fiction, have no basis in scientific reality. Misinterpreted certain post-mortem changes as signs of life. While the scientific community largely dismisses the existence of vampires, there are those who continue to search for evidence of these creatures in the realm of cryptozoology. Cryptozoology, often described as the study of hidden animals, delves into the possibility of creatures that have not yet been recognized by mainstream science, often drawing on folklore, eyewitness accounts, and anecdotal evidence. Those who believe in the possibility of real vampires point to a variety of alleged evidence, including sightings of strange creatures, unexplained animal deaths, and even claims of encounters with individuals who exhibit vampire-like behavior. However, much of this evidence is anecdotal, lacking the rigorous scientific scrutiny required to be considered credible. One of the challenges facing cryptozoologists is the lack of a clear definition of what constitutes a vampire. Are they strictly supernatural beings, or could they be undiscovered animals with unusual dietary habits or physiological adaptations? Without a clear framework for understanding what they are looking for, it becomes difficult to separate genuine evidence from hoaxes, misinterpretations, and the power of suggestion. Moreover, many of the alleged sightings and encounters with vampires can be attributed to more mundane explanations, such as misidentification of known animals, natural phenomena, or even hoaxes perpetrated for attention or personal gain. The human mind is highly susceptible to suggestion, and in the absence of concrete evidence, it is easy to fill in the blanks with our own fears and expectations. The vampire, far from being relegated to the dusty annals of folklore and Gothic literature, has thrived in the modern world. Its image is constantly reshaped in popular culture, from books and films to television shows and video games. The journey began with Bram Stoker's Dracula in 1897, Stoker's portrayal of Count Dracula solidified many vampire tropes. Cinema brought these creatures to life in the early 20th century. Vampires have been a staple of horror films, reflecting cultural shifts. Early films like Nosferatu emphasized their monstrous nature. Over time, portrayals evolved. The seductive, tragic vampire emerged, challenging traditional images. Films like Dracula, 1931, and Interview with the Vampire, 1994, explored vampire complexities. Section 2. Seduction and Shadows, Reimagining the Vampire Archetype. One of the most striking trends in modern vampire fiction has been the shift away from the purely monstrous depictions of these creatures towards a more nuanced and often sympathetic portrayal. Vampires in contemporary media are often depicted as complex, even relatable figures, grappling with their own internal struggles and the moral implications of their existence. This shift can be attributed in part to a broader cultural trend towards exploring the humanity of monsters, examining the ways in which they reflect our own fears, desires, and the darker aspects of human nature. The vampire, with its blend of allure and danger, its capacity for both cruelty and compassion, provides a rich canvas for exploring these themes. The rise of the good vampire archetype, particularly in young adult fiction and paranormal romance novels, has further challenged traditional notions of vampirism. These vampires, often depicted as teenagers or young adults themselves, struggle to reconcile their supernatural abilities with their desire for human connection and a sense of belonging. Series like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and The Vampire Diaries, for example, presented viewers with vampires who were capable of love, loyalty, and even self-sacrifice, blurring the lines between monster and hero. The Twilight Saga, with its focus on the forbidden romance between a human girl and a vampire, captured the imaginations of millions of readers and viewers worldwide, demonstrating the enduring appeal of the vampire myth, even in its most unconventional forms. Section 3. Beyond the Bite, the enduring appeal of the vampire myth. Why do vampires continue to captivate us even in a modern world shaped by science and reason? Vampires embody our fears of mortality, desires for power, and anxieties about human nature. They allow us to explore taboo subjects like sexuality and violence. Constantly evolving, the vampire myth reflects changing cultural anxieties. Vampires are a reflection of ourselves, a testament to the power of myth and storytelling. Section 1. The enduring echo of the vampire myth. Our journey into the heart of the vampire myth has taken us across continents and centuries. We've delved into the shadowy realms of folklore and superstition, explored historical figures and medical mysteries, and examined the evolving portrayal of vampires in popular culture. Are vampires real? Science says no. Science debunks their supernatural abilities, from immortality to sunlight aversion, yet the myth persists. It captivates our imaginations and fuels our nightmares. Why do these creatures still hold sway over us? Perhaps the myth reveals our deepest fears and desires. The vampire serves as a mirror to the human condition. It reflects our anxieties about mortality and fascination with the forbidden. The myth endures because it speaks to our hidden desires and the power of storytelling. Despite our efforts to understand the world, mysteries remain. The vampire myth reminds us of secrets that whisper in the darkness. Section 2. A reflection of ourselves, the vampire within. The vampire myth evolves, reflecting our anxieties and preoccupations. Vampires resonate with our struggles for identity and connection. They mirror our thirst for life, connection, and reconciling dark impulses with compassion. The line between monster and human is often blurred. Within us lies the potential for both darkness and light. Vampires challenge our perceptions of good and evil. They prompt us to confront our own nature. As we move into the 21st century, the vampire myth will continue to evolve, reflecting our anxieties and assumptions. The allure of the unknown and the power of storytelling remain.